Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwann and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Ray Mackler, and he's the CEO of SRG, the Sales Readiness Group. Welcome, Ray.
All right, thank you, Gerhard. Great to be here today.
So let's talk about the future of sales training.
Great. Well, it's something we're really passionate about because we're seeing it every day. And I also like to share, we learn so much from our clients every day just by watching and hearing about the requirements. And I think sales training is changing, and we're kind of excited to see the direction that's heading.
So what are the change factors besides technology?
Yeah, so, we've all heard that the buyers are changing, right? They're more informed, they're more sophisticated. We heard this morning they're further along in the sales process before they ever engage. We've known that for several years. But I think there's some other things going along as well. There are more buyers engaged in the average deal, business-to-business transaction, and it's taking longer to complete. So, I think when we look at all of those factors, it means that the sales professional needs to be even sharper. They need to be more engaged. They need to be bringing more insights. And we've been familiar with this idea of the consultative salesperson. I think it becomes even more important. Gentlemen, we follow and have done some work with Chris Peary, who is a chief learning officer at Microsoft for a number of years in their sales enablement group, has the phrase that salespeople of the future need to be great learners and great teachers. So we need to be nimble enough to pick up new skills and adapt and understand, and we need to be able to help teach and educate our clients and bring them along with us. And I think that's really exciting for the future of sales.
Well, I think it sounds really good in theory, but how do you translate that into practice? How do you help a salesperson learn faster and become a better teacher at the same time?
Yeah, and it is a good challenge because it's not the traditional role that we may think of for the sales professional or for sales training. And so I think, as we've talked about, it means that the once a year in-person sales event or sales training event is no longer adequate. I think we need to break the training down into more manageable chunks, micro-learning, if you will, and be able to deliver it just in time and at the point of need. So things like e-learning, things like videos, resource libraries that can be available, I think will help us stay more on the game, and also can be updated and refreshed and more current as well.
So can you walk us through what you call the blended model for learning?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I don't think the classroom's going away, but in addition to that, I think when we can take e-learning and make it very engaging, and we know that today's generation, today's sellers want it to be entertaining, engaging, and they want it to be very succinct. So there's not a lot of tolerance for boring lectures. So I think we have to do that within our e-learning. And then we have to create some assignments and missions, if you will, so things to do with that training so they get to apply it. And then we've been having a lot of success with these cohort groups. So not just watch the videos, but now weekly, monthly, whatever that period is, check in as a group, talk amongst your peers, and it also creates some healthy peer pressure if you know that you're going to be called out amongst this group to be able to apply the concepts. So I think those are the first three factors that are really important to kind of blend it together.
So when you think about your career as a trainer, the last 10 years, what are you doing differently now compared to some time ago that makes learning more engaging for the students?
Yeah, so I think, well, we talked about relevancy, so that's one thing, is really understanding how they're going to apply the skills.
Yeah, they're more hungry.
Absolutely. And I think the more we can include some video, some interactions, some role plays that are very specific to them, it's not a generic off-the-shelf program. It needs to be, oh, I see this. We get it all the time, and we know we've hit the mark on our role plays and case studies when they say, this is exactly what I ran into last week, or I'm struggling with this right now. Okay, now that's engaging. Now they're interested.
What about gamification?
Yeah, so I'm really bullish and excited about that. I think it's been kicked around. I think a long time people didn't know what it meant. But in our definition, at least, it means being able to attach some relevancy and points, if you will, to certain activities that are going to get you to an end game. So that might be watching some videos. That might be turning in an assignment or completing an assignment. That may be taking a quiz, but you add all of these things up, and now you're able to see how you're doing relative to your peers and have an outcome, a certification or a badge as a result of that.
Do you think it would be a good idea to create sort of a learning leaderboard in the organization?
Yeah, so some of that's going to be culture dependent.
Right.
I think it's absolutely great to see how you rank, whether you call every individual out by name or not. I think depends a little bit on the culture and even geography to some extent.
Right.
But I think being able to see how you match up your progress
Right.
and also be called out if you're not participating
Right.
or you're not engaging,
Right.
I think can be helpful.
So you're also teaching salespeople in other countries, not just the United States. What country is pushing you more to innovate your teachings?
Wow, I think it's a great question. You know, I will say that we have differences in like some European countries where that is a question. There are union issues, there are labor issues that prevent you from being able to expose some of that information, but the valid concept is not lost.
Right.
So we just do it without maybe exposing that information,
Right.
but still having some healthy competition or a way of seeing how you're doing. I think some of those things we can apply it. The skills are essentially the same, but the application's a little different.
Final question about, you mentioned role plays. Is video role play a good idea? And if so, how is it executed?
Yeah, I think it is. It's another interesting technology enabled solution because I think it's great to be able to practice skills and see what are people doing right. The manager can see how you're doing, gives them a chance to practice in an environment. Where we've seen organizations struggle is on the execution, because do people really have time to do it? Is there going to be enough support to make sure that they get done, or that somebody actually watches them and rates them?
Right.
So I think there are some implementation challenges yet with that, but it's an exciting technology application that I think will become more widespread.
Right.
Yeah.
So how can people learn more about SRG?
Yeah, so love for people to go to salesreadinessgroup.com, our website, which has a very active blog. They can sign up. We also do monthly webinars. We have a newsletter that goes out so they can get access to all that information, as well as on LinkedIn. If they follow us there, they'll get notices on the content that we're publishing.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray.
Great. Thank you, Gerhard.